So unfortunately, after you file your trademark application, what happens to so many of our clients is that they receive these false junk mail notices from private organizations that are not affiliated with the Patent and Trademark Office. The problem is that these notices look really official. They look all real. And if you're not careful, if you don't look at it carefully, it could fool anybody. So here's the important thing to understand about trademark applications. After you file, you pay the fee immediately. So you pay the $275 if you do a TS standard application per class, or $225 per class if you're doing the TS plus. But the point is that after you file, you pay the fees with the filing. Okay. So there is never a time when the trademark office is going to, after you file an application, send you a bill. If you get a filing receipt, it means that you already paid your fee to the trademark office for your trademark application. Now, let's talk briefly about fees, because there are a few other times when you have to pay fees, but I will tell you now that those fees are paid with submissions. So it was with a submission that you make to the trademark office. The trademark office holds itself out as saying that there are no times when they will have a third-party company, a private company, charge you for anything related to their your trademark filing or a trademark application that's pending before them. Now, that being said, there are again times when you will have to make payments for your trademark application. One example would be if you file a statement of use. So if you file an intent to use application after your trademark is published for opposition and is allowed, then you will have to submit what's called a statement of use within 6 months. And you have to pay $100 per class along with your statement of use. But again, that's with an affirmative filing. So you're taking steps to file a statement of use. And so you file a statement of use with the trademark office. And then during that filing, at the very end of it, you have to pay the fee. So again, the fees are paid to the trademark office, not to some third-party site. Another example of when you might have to pay a fee related to your trademark application is after the notice of allowance, if you aren't yet using your mark in commerce. So let's say you're still prepping, planning, developing the product, doing research, whatever it may be, you may not be at the point where you're actually selling your goods and services in the market. So then you have to file what's called an extension of time. Now, the extension of time also has an associated fee, but again, it's a fee that you pay the trademark office, not some third-party system or service or company. And again, that fee is $125 presently per class, so $125 per class. But like I said, that's not a fee that you're paying to some private company. So the point of all this, and honestly, let's talk about the rest of the fees. Other popular fees that you might have to pay are renewal fees between the 5th and 6th year, between the 9th and 10th year, and then subsequently every 10th year afterwards. That really sums up the most of the fees that traditional applicants will have to deal with. But again, all these fees that I just described, they're paid to the trademark office. So when you get these notices in the mail, more than likely they are junk mail. Now, let's just go through some examples. The trademark office is well aware of the fact that there's all these private companies that are sending out these junk mail notices, trying to scam people out of fees they don't have to pay. And so because of that, they actually have a good page that shows a lot of examples of sample scam letters. So what I'd recommend doing is, before you even bother contacting an attorney, I would just go to the misleading notices section of the trademark office site and see if you can identify the company that sent you the notice. That's if you just want to be really safe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how you guys can do that today in this episode. That way you can have more peace of mind and know that you don't have to worry about the scam letter that you might have gotten in the mail. Unfortunately, this is something that most of our clients have to deal with. Now, you might ask, well, how do these private companies get a hold of our address? And how do they know that my trademark application is pending? How do they know what my mark is? How do they get this information? Well, as you recall, at the very end of the trademark filing process, and if you're not familiar, just go back and watch one of our prior episodes. We've done many filings in these episodes. But if you go at the very end of it, if you notice, there's a no right to confidentiality section at the bottom of your application that you check. That's because when you file a trademark application, all of the information that you submit in your application becomes public record, and you have no right to confidentiality in that information. So third-party companies are basically going through all these records and sending mass mail letters to individuals and companies that file new trademarks. And if to the unwary, it can be a real issue because they look very official, as we're going to see in this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to share with you guys how you guys can go about doing some of this research. So the first thing is I'm going to start from the very, very beginning. I can post up this link here for you guys, but what I think would be more helpful is if I just show you guys how to find the site so that you don't have to go in and type this all in. Basically, if you just go to Google and then search USPTO misleading notices, really simple Google search, that's going to be the very, very first hit. So if anything, maybe that's what I should comment. USPTO misleading notices. So if you just Google USPTO misleading notices, it's going to be the very, very first hit. So again, they have really, really good examples of what these notices actually look like. So let's take a look at some of them. A lot of them have common themes. So the ones that are really concerning to me are the ones that actually come from DC. What you'll notice is some of them come from Florida, some states where the trademark office is not. Just so you guys know, the trademark office is in Alexandria, Virginia, along with the patent office, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. But see, all these notices look very real. And if you're not careful, they're really easy to fool you. It's very concerning. And unfortunately, they're able to scam people, which is why they continue to do this. As you can see, brand registration office. This one to me doesn't look as real. But again, there's just these exorbitant fees that just don't make any sense. Wire transfers to this one. Oh wow, this one's looks like it's to Germany. So they want you to wire money to Germany. They have headquarters in Munich. Okay, this one's from Florida. So really, like, all kinds of unusual things about these. So again, the first pattern that we've noticed is that a lot of them have offices that are not even in Virginia. So that's a really, really first good indicator. Except this one appears to be in Alexandria, Virginia. And again, I mean, this looks pretty real. So, I mean, I think this is why it's good that we're doing this episode. So the one thing though is that this name is kind of funky, Intellectual Property Services USA Incorporated. But they do have an office that looks like, based on this notice letter in Alexandria, Virginia. So I could definitely see how this could be very, very confusing and misleading. Here's one in Oregon. Again, these are unfortunately actual mail that people have received. Intellectual Office Property Register. Wow, they can't even. That's funny. Glow Trade. Let's see. Official looking logos. Looks like there's quite a few based in New York. Patent and Trademark Association. So a lot of examples, and a lot of all of these are great examples. I can tell you guys, pending trademark cancellation. Wow, if you're not familiar with trademarks, they look really real. This one looks like it's in Washington State. I'll tell you some of the ones that we get out here pretty often in California. What's one that we get often? I think I believe WTP is a popular one. Yeah, this is a very, very popular one that I've seen a lot. And again, it's wanting us to make a payment to someplace in New York, Fresh Meadows, New York. So WTP, this one's in Florida. So gives you guys a good sense of what you're looking at. So again, I hope this is helpful to a lot of you guys. It's just keep in mind, after you file your trademark application, you're more likely going to get some scam letter. Again, these are private companies that are mining the trademark database for new filings and then automatically sending letters to unsuspecting individuals and companies that, if they're not familiar with the system, might inadvertently actually think it's legitimate and then send a check or wire transfer, however, credit card payment to these third-party companies. So just keep that in mind. After you file your trademark application, you pay a filing fee at the end of the filing process, which is why the trademark office provides you with the filing receipt and the serial number. If you didn't pay your filing fee, the $275 per class, then you would never get a filing receipt and you would never have a serial number. Only applications where you've paid the filing fee are assigned serial numbers. So you basically pretty much can safely disregard any piece of junk mail that you get that's demanding a fee for your trademark application. But if you want assurances, again, just go to this page here, just Google USPTO misleading notices, check out the site and see if you can find the same company, search by city, by state, see obviously by the name, and see if you can find it in this page. And more than likely, I think what you'll find, they do a really good job of trying to keep this updated. And so I think more than likely what you're going to find is that that your misleading notice has probably already been reported and is on this site. So again, really good tool. Check it out. And just be careful. Don't get scammed. You shouldn't have to pay any fees after the filing fee for your trademark application until you get later into the process. So later into the process means extension of time or statement of use, or much later after it's allowed, when you have to pay the renewal fees at between the 5th and 6th year and 9th and 10th year. So I hope this helps. I hope this helps a lot of you guys. Again, if you guys have any questions about intellectual property, just send them Victoria's way. You can reach her at victoria@adibiip.com, victoria@adibiip.com. And also, we have a community number. It's at 415-943-5193, 415-943-5193. Text that number. You'll have direct access to me. If you guys have questions about intellectual property, just text them to that number and I will get them answered on the show. And again, we're always looking for entrepreneurs and engineers to be on the show. And yeah, I hope we're going to continue just putting out awesome content that hopefully helps a lot of you guys. And if you guys have very specific questions, just send them over and we will do our best to give you guys thorough and complete answers. Thanks so much for watching.